Hello, collective. It is the Mermaid. How is everyone doing? This is not part two per se. This is a follow up to the video I posted earlier about R&B singer Aaliyah. I asked Spirit, because sometimes, listen, you can't be arrogant. When I was channeling, I asked some questions, okay? I asked some questions and I asked Spirit, and Spirit said that it was spot on. It was spot on, and Spirit wanted me to give some additional information. So, Aaliyah, like just about any young person who entered into the music industry at a young age, you're exposed to adult conditions and situations way too early, okay? She was not protected, and she certainly was not, she wasn't protected at the beginning of her musical career and towards the end. But Spirit wanted to say this before she left this planet, she was able to connect with a beautiful kindred soul, and they had planned to start a new life together. She was going to take a break from music, have her baby. They had all these plans, and then we know what happened. So Spirit wanted me to say, um, the person the person who impregnated her at the time he was not married. So that clears that up. And also, she went through a spiritual awakening, and she wanted to walk away from the music industry. She certainly didn't want to have her kid around, that lifestyle. And they pressured her into the idea. It's a movie about, it's your song "Rock the Boat." We want to release that song first from the album or whatever, and to go down to the islands and record the video. A couple of the people on her team knew she was pregnant, and so um, they were like, "Yeah, go. Let's release the video. Let's get momentum on this album before you start showing." That would be the best thing to do, um, so that you'll stay hot or whatever. So that's one way they convinced her to go to the Caribbean to shoot the video, which is a lovely video, by the way. And when she. So her handlers in the music industry and the guy, when she broke up, it was so beautiful because she was going through a spiritual awakening. She broke up with him. She didn't care about him. She didn't care to give the kid his last name, none of that stuff. He expressed himself, and she says, "Okay, we're good." Men that are the lowest and creepiest, they mistreat someone, and then they were having this woman followed. That's how they discovered that she was dating somebody new. She was ready for a new chapter in her life. She wasn't thinking about music, she wasn't thinking about the industry. She was ready, not necessarily to turn her back on the industry, but she was ready for something new. And when you're ready for something new, it will appear. I'm telling you. And she met this guy, and they were kindred spirits, and he didn't want anything. She was so used to people taking from her, okay? That's a sign of a well, taking allowing that unequal exchange of energy, I should say. Thank you, Spirit. And she met this guy who was put in her life that didn't want anything from her, only wanted to protect her and care about her and, help her during the first stages. Yeah, so she told him she was pregnant. She thought she'd never hear from him again. I don't know. They went out to grab a bite to eat or something, and she went to the bathroom. She had morning sickness. How cute! And well, she met him obviously before she went. She shot her video, and he was like, "Are you okay?" And she was like, "Yeah, I'm okay." Yeah. She's also not used to people truly being genuine and asking, "Are you okay?" She's used to just say, having a reply. And she says, "Yeah, I just found out I'm pregnant. And on top of that, why would I expect anything different from him anyway?" She says, "But I'm good. I'm taking care of myself and I have a plan." And he was like, and he was genuine. He was like, "Let me know how I could help." And I don't know. I don't know, but she did reach out to him, and he showed up. And I don't know, whatever it is. I don't know that part, but he showed up for her. He didn't want anything from her. Then all of a sudden, when reports were coming back to, the guys on her label and the one guy that she was pregnant for, he called her up not to see how she was doing, not if she needed cash, not if she needed anything, blah blah blah. "Who's that blank 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 that I heard you're going around with?" Good for her. Her boundaries were up, and she hung up the phone, as she should have. The man that the man that showed up for her, that was there for her, he was not a brother. And this is in her last phases of her existence. He cared and took care of her and cherished her more than all the people in her life combined. And that's just the truth. They, yeah. And I asked Spirit, the man that she fell in love with, if he never married. I asked. I don't know if he'll see this, but it's true. I asked, and they said he never married. I don't know why. He just chose not to. But it, isn't that how life works? She met this guy on a whim. He shows up for her every day until her last day. And the time they spent together, she was happy. But they did say, she did tell him a lot of the turmoil on the label and whatnot. And he was like, it sounds like he told her, actually, even though it's still early in the pregnancy, just shoot it in the States because, with the morning sickness. And he says, even in the first trimester, traveling that distance and the dancing, and he said, it's a lot on your body. Why are you putting, yeah, you want your album to be successful, and it will be, but you don't really have to travel and fly that long, and the flights aren't good for you and the baby. He says, it's absolutely your decision. I support your decision, but that's my that's my 2 cents on the matter. And so she experienced love for real. She walked away, and she started loving herself, and a beautiful energy was able to come into her life for some time before you know, she was taken away. And yeah, so sometimes small, and it's unfortunate, but sometimes you can connect with someone and it's more meaningful than the other connections you've had because those people were just around, they weren't investing. And this is why it's so important to do your inner child healing, starting with our first chakra, the root chakra. um, yeah, yeah, she obviously must have gone inside and within, excuse me, and looked at some things and behaviors, and hey, why did I do that, and why would I even go there? But we learn and we release and we heal and um, we go further. And so love is eternal. You know, love is eternal. And again, in spirituality, there is no timeline. But if I'm giving this message, at some point, this beautiful lady will get justice. Justice will prevail for her. Okay. Spirit said to give an update because yeah, why were they were spying on her? This man he didn't offer to, send her money for the doctor, or he was like, who's that so and so, and why is there a car in your driveway? Excuse me? It's not funny, but it's just so sickening. Um, there are so many laws, unfortunately, on the books that had to be put in place because some woman was harassed, hurt, stalked, um, menaced, and she dealt with a lot of this on her own, as a lot of women do. Okay. All right, that's, like I said, it's not really part two. It's just an update that love is eternal. Okay, keep doing your root chakra healing and keep moving forward. Make sure to remove any person, place, or thing that no longer serves your highest good. Happy Thursday. I'll see you on the next video.